According to a Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, third convoy which evacuates eastern Ghouta has arrived at a refugee camp in Aleppo. 13 buses carried more than 650 people from Douma. Preparations are underway to organize fourth convoy. Turkey has warned France that it needs to choose its ally to fight against Islamic State in Syria. Relations between the two countries have been tense after France criticized the 2-month-old Turkish military operation against the Kurdish YPG in northern Syria. Turkey considers YPG to be a terrorist organization. Pentagon's Joint Staff Director has said that U.S. policy towards fighting Islamic State terrorists in Syria remains the same. This is in sharp contrast with President Donald Trump's comment a few days where he said that fight against ISIS in Syria is almost over and that he would like to bring American troops back home soon. Tossing his boring prepared remarks into the air, President Donald Trump unleashed a fierce denunciation of nation's immigration policies. He called for tougher border security while repeating his unsubstantiated claim that millions of people voted illegally in California. Trump was in West Virginia to showcase the benefits of Republican tax cuts. In what could be the most aggressive move so far against Russia's business elite, the United States plans to sanction Russian oligarchs this week under a law targeting Moscow for meddling in the 2016 US election. The action, which could affect people close to President Vladimir Putin, reflects Washington's desire to hold Russia accountable for allegedly interfering in the election, a claim which Moscow denied vehemently. Russia has warned Britain at the United Nations Security Council meet called to discuss the poisoning of a former Russian spy and his daughter. In response, Britain's ambassador at the UN said that Russian request for consular access had been conveyed to Yulia Skripal and they are waiting for her response. UK also said that they cannot ignore Russia turning a blind eye to the use of chemical weapons in Syria and Salisbury. A German court has agreed to release former Catalan leader Carles Puigdemont on bail. Puigdemont was arrested after he entered Germany last month on Spanish-issued warrant. Madrid has accused the separatist leader of rebellion and corruption after he organized an independence referendum last year. Peruvian police has arrested 9 suspected drug runners and seized nearly a ton of cocaine. The large cache of drugs were tucked inside crates of recycled paper in a warehouse in Lima. 5 of the arrested suspects are Colombian nationals. According to local authorities, the cocaine was destined for Europe ahead of the World Cup in Russia, which will kick off in June this year. A gunman shot dead 4 Turkish academics at a university. The university reactor has said that the gunman saw the victims as supporters of a Muslim cleric accused by the government of being behind a failed coup in 2016. The gunman has been arrested near capital city of Ankara. According to reports, the gunman worked as a researcher at the university. Palestinians are preparing for the Second Friday protest, that is part of 6-week-long agitation by tens of thousands along the fenced border of the Israeli blocked Gaza Strip. More tents and chairs to burn have been brought by the protesters in what is being seen as the Friday of Ties. A Palestinian was killed in Israeli firing on Thursday, bringing the death toll to 19. At least 20 students have been arrested after clashing with police in Santiago. The protest was called to demand increased education funding. Police used water cannons to disperse the protesting students. Just last week, protesting university students clashed with police after Chile's constitutional court overturned a law that would have banned universities operating for profit. Italian President Sergio Mattarella has said that 2 days of talks on government crisis have ended with no breakthrough in sight. He has announced a second round of consultants next week. Meanwhile, leader of centre-right Forza Italia party, Silvio Berlusconi, has said that the government must be led by a bloc of conservative parties that won the most number of seats in the last month's inconclusive national elections. New York police shot and killed a man after mistaking a metal pipe for a gun. Police officials say they responded after receiving 911 calls from the people who thought a man was pointing a firearm at pedestrians. The NYPD has released a surveillance video of the incident in which 3 officers in plain clothes and 1 uniformed officer fired 10 shots at the accused, who later died in a hospital. An investigation has been launched in the shooting. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas is in Jordan on a 2-day visit to discuss various development projects and political situation in the Middle East. Maas, who has been in office since March, has been calling for an end to the war in Syria, saying that it's time for empty words, that the time for empty words is over. Dozens of Greek Uber drivers protested outside a transport ministry building in Athens. This after Greece approved a legislation that imposes stricter regulation on the sector. The move led Uber to announce would suspend its licensed service in Greece. Uber has been facing severe opposition from local taxi drivers who accuse it of taking their business. Turkish Coast Guard has intercepted 203 migrants in last 24 hours. Footage released by Turkish Coast Guard showed some 39 migrants, including women and children, being taken on board a Coast Guard vessel from a dingy off-the-coast near Karada in southwest Turkey. Hundreds of thousands of refugees from Syria and other countries have crossed to Greece and further into Europe via Turkey in recent years. Hundreds have died in the attempt. Sierra Leone's new president, Julius Maada Bio, has called on his rival to drop a legal challenge against the results that were announced yesterday. Maada Bio said that he has the expertise and the experience to make sure that Sierra Leone is a better place. A United Nations human rights expert called in Hungary to crack down on hate speech by politicians against minorities. The body also asked the country to repeal a law allowing police to expel irregular migrants without giving them a chance to seek asylum. Hungary is set to go to the polls on Sunday. Russian President Vladimir Putin met top Chinese diplomat in the Kremlin. The two sides discussed a wide range of issues affecting relations between Moscow and Beijing. The meeting comes as a part of an official visit of Chinese delegation which began earlier on Thursday with a meeting between the members and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The leader of the French labor movement has said that a standoff between the French government and unions could turn into a national confrontation against President Emmanuel Macron's reforms. French government and the unions are clashing over the reforms of the SNCF rail compulsory 2-day strikes in every 5 days for the next 3 months is already underway. Well, after a major setback yesterday, actor Salman Khan's bail plea is scheduled to be heard in a Jodhpur court today. The actor was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in the 1998 BLACKBUCK poaching case by Jodhpur Sessions Court. He was also fined a penalty of 10,000 rupees. He was convicted under the Section 51 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin his 5-day visit to Sweden and the UK on April 16. The aim of the visit will be to boost bilateral ties in several areas, including trade and investment. In UK, the Prime Minister will attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meet. In Sweden, Prime Minister Modi will attend the India-Nordic Summit. The summit is being co-hosted by India. Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli will be in India on his maiden visit. He will be meeting top Indian leadership to strengthen the partnership between the two countries. He will be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi later today ahead of the delegation-level talks on Saturday. Oli will also interact with the Nepalese community in Delhi. India's Finance Minister ARUN JAITLEY is being treated for kidney-related problems and certain infections that he had recently contracted. The senior BJP leader, who had skipped taking oath after being re-elected as Rajya Sabha MP from Uttar Pradesh, has not been attending office since Monday. In a brief statement put out on Twitter, JAITLEY confirmed that he was working from controlled environment at home due to these medical reasons. The Ministry of External Affairs has submitted a request to Hong Kong authorities for the provisional arrest of Nirav Modi, who is wanted in connection with rupees 13,000 crore PNB loan fraud. Minister of State was responding to a question in Rajya Sabha asking about Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi. He also informed the Parliament that the passports of both the individuals have been suspended after they failed to showcase notice. India's central bank is mulling issuing its own virtual currency in order to challenge the growing prominence of private digital currencies. The currency, if issued, will exist in addition to the paper currency already in circulation. An interdepartmental committee has been formed by the Reserve Bank of India to look into the feasibility and desirability of digital currency, which will submit its report by this June end. Air carrier Indigo has said that it is opting out of a race to acquire Air India as the terms set by the government would not suit it. The government had last week released bid documents seeking to sell a 76% stake in the state-run national carrier that operates both domestic and international routes. The proposed sale will also include a 100% stake in India's low-cost arm Air India Express and a 50% stake in its ground handling arm SATS Airport Services. The Trump administration has approved sale of more than $1.3 billion in artillery to Saudi Arabia. The State Department has said that the administration has told Congress that it plans to approve the sale. Lawmakers will have 30 days to act if they want to try to stop it. In total, the US has agreed to more than $2.3 billion in arms deals with the Saudis since Prince Mohammed's visit last month. A previously announced deal involved more than $1 billion in missiles. A Brazilian judge has ordered that Facebook has to pay more than $33 million for failing to cooperate with a corruption investigation. The judge fined the social media giant for failing to give access to WhatsApp messages exchanged between the accused individuals in 2016. Quoting Facebook, say that they are exploring all legal options and that the fine lacks grounds. Chinese scientists have published a paper revealing that they have identified a coronavirus responsible for the deadly Prosin epidemic diarrhea that killed more than 24,000 pigs last year in Guangdong province. The scientists say that although the virus does not have any effect on human beings at the present, but it shares multiple similarities with a virus that can cause acute respiratory syndrome. A 5.6 magnitude earthquake rattled the residents of northern Chile. Despite the dramatic jolts caught on the traffic cameras, no injuries were reported. Chile's Emergency Management Agency said that quake was centered 40 kilometers outside Iquique, which is home to more than 200,000 people. School children were evacuated and taken to designated areas in case the coastal city was hit by a tsunami. The U.S. Geological Survey released a video showing a clear aerial view of KILAUEA volcano's summit lava lake in Hawaii. The video showed rare spattering on the north side and center of the lake surface, which happens occasionally when the surface flow direction reverses. Spattering, which is triggered by gas bubbles bursting within the lake, typically occurs on the southeast side. Kenya has started making rhinos and aims to tag and identify 22 of them in 2 weeks at a cost of $100,000 in an effort to conserve their dwindling numbers. The project comes just weeks after the world's last male northern white rhino died in Kenya, leaving only 2 females of its kind alive in the world. Scientists hope to save the subspecies from extinction using in vitro fertilization. A company called ARUN has announced what it calls the world's first luxury hotel in space. The announcement was made at the Space 2 Summit in San Jose in California. The project has been called Aurora Station and is scheduled to welcome its first guests in 2022. It is a planned modular space station capable of hosting 6 people at a time. The 12-day adventure is expected to cost $9.5 million per person. ARUN has already started taking reservations with an $80,000 deposit. Now let's take you through some stories from across the world in the sport area now. We start with results from the Commonwealth Games, where Mirabai Chanu clinched India's first gold medal by winning women's 48 kg weightlifting event. Chanu, the reigning world champion, set a Commonwealth Games record by lifting a combined total of 196 kg, finishing 26 kgs clear to take home the top honor. In the men's 56 kg category, Guru Raja Pujari had to settle for silver. He was pipped by a record-breaking lift by Malaysia's Muhammad Izhar Ahmad. Guru Raja lifted a combined total of 249 kgs in snatch, but Izhar Ahmad set a new Commonwealth Games record by lifting a total of 261 kilograms to take home the gold. Meanwhile, the Australian swimming team bettered their previous world record time to clinch gold in the women's 4x100 freestyle event. Shaina Jack, Bront Campbell, Emma McKeown and Kate Campbell put on a combined time of 3 minutes 30.05 seconds to lower the world record by 0.6 of a second. There was another world record in store for the hosts of the 2018 Games, with the men's track cycling team winning the 4-kilometer pursuit gold. Leigh Howard, Sam Welsford, Kellen O'Brien and Alex Potter raced across the line in 3 minutes 49.804 seconds. Bermuda's Flora Duffy became the first champion of the 2018 Commonwealth Games by winning the women's triathlon in Gold Coast, becoming her country's first female Commonwealth champion. 30-year-old Duffy won the race, which is run over a sprint course consisting of a 75-meter open water swim, a 20-kilometer cycle and a 5-kilometer run with a time of 56 minutes and 50 seconds. Duffy finished ahead of England's Jessica LEONE and Canada's Joanna Brown.